It's time. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pistols, your host. We are here again with another episode of the Front Office Podcast. And you guessed it, based on the jersey, we got the old McNair out. We're talking AFC South. My boy Dizzy.
Yes, sir.
Dizzy, what's going on, my man?
Not a whole lot.
I think
Playing terrible golf today.
Oh, terrible golf. What'd you shoot today? We don't have to say it. We don't have to say it on stream if you don't want to.
Bad. Bad.
Yeah, I mean, how was your trip? Your little weekend trip?
Good.
Now we're back talking ball, man.
That's it.
And we are here to talk about the AFC South. What do you say we get right into it? Let's start it off. Let's go. We're going to start with your most hated team here. We're going to go with the Texans.
I love that because I hate them so much.
That's what I figured. Get them out of the way. Now, Houston, they're kind of a funny team, to be honest, in my opinion, because first of all, let me say this: the AFC South. If you agree with me, maybe not. I think the AFC South is probably one of the most underrated divisions in the NFL. What do you think about that?
I would say historically no, but last year for sure.
Yeah,
because you had two really good teams.
Sure.
Like Jags could beat anybody. Texans were, that defense, brother.
Their defense is solid.
Nasty.
Yeah, they got some nasty business on that defense over there. But Houston's a funny team again because we have C.J. Stroud who came into the league. He's going on year 4, I believe, maybe year 5. He should probably be able to take control of this offense by now, right? And he has we kind of saw something with him his rookie year, and people were like, "Oh wow, C.J. Stroud was this kid's really good." And then we saw the sophomore slump, right? And he didn't have that great of a season. Then he gets Nico Collins, and it kind of bounces back in year 3. And then last year he was kind of up and down all over the board. Houston's. I don't really like Houston either. I'm a Bills fan, so Houston has been on my shit list ever since they beat us. The first year we went to the playoffs in like 17 years. Josh Allen had that really bad fumble that was in Houston. So
that's a JJ Watt game, right? Where JJ went crazy?
I think so, yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
But I think they only beat us it was like 17-14 or something like that. It was just a really bad game.
Nasty game.
But the Bills defense was better back then too. So they had a pretty decent defense that helped kind of carry them throughout the season and Josh Allen's rookie year and all that fun stuff and whatnot. But now the biggest thing for the Texans, they bring in David Montgomery from Detroit. They traded Juice Scruggs, their offensive lineman, for David Montgomery. Does that change the dynamic of the offense a little bit, knowing that Joe Mixon's gone now? They let him go. Obviously, he had the injury thing or some internal thing was going on there. We don't know. But does that change the dynamic of the offense in Houston a little bit, having David Montgomery back there? Because we saw what he could do in Detroit. He was obviously the 1B running back there.
Yeah, I definitely think it changes it because CJ is the most overhyped quarterback maybe like the last 30 years.
Sure.
He had a good year, but I think a lot of it has to do with NFL teams now understand the value of having consistency in your OC.
Right.
To call plays for the guy. He had Bobby Slowick, who was up for head coaching jobs. And to be honest with you, Titans fan, we're like, hey, come on, Bobby, come over here.
Probably should have had a head coaching job, to be honest.
Yeah, and now he's like a offensive assistant somewhere. So it's like, I think there was some continuity issues with him, but last year, I don't think they could run the ball. When you got a great defense, you can't run the ball because your quarterback, he's not a drop back and throw the ball 40 times type of guy.
No.
He needs to play off the run. But this year, getting David Montgomery paired with the fact they brought in Wyatt Teller from Cleveland.
Yep.
Great there.
Yep.
And then they got Braden Smith from Indianapolis. So that O-line is going to be tremendously better because then you got David Andrews right in the middle. a great tight end. I love Dalton Schultz.
Yeah,
Love
absolutely.
the guy.
And they brought in Foster Moreau as well from I believe he
Yeah.
came over from New Orleans. Who he had some pretty good years, and I know he had the health injury, the health issues with the cancer. I think it was. But he's cancer free now and back in the league, and now he's paired with Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz is a really good tight end, and I've said this before. I don't know if you've listened back to any of the recent episodes or not, but our tight ends becoming irrelevant. And
I think that bad offensive teams make them irrelevant. But like if you look at the people who compete, the Patriots got Hunter Henry.
Sure.
Dallas Goedert for the Eagles. Sure. Kelsey for the Chiefs. Look at what the Bills do with tight ends.
Sure.
Ravens, big time competitor. Mark Andrews, likely. So it's like I think bad teams. Yeah, I think bad teams do. I think the good teams are the ones who make it happen.
Let me ask you this. So with the tight end position, and I said it's becoming irrelevant, especially in a fantasy perspective and a fantasy standpoint. Trey McBride was the only tight end over 1,000 yards last year. He had like 1,200 some yards, and the next guy was Kyle Pitts at like 850 or something.
Yeah, so that's crazy.
In a fantasy world, that's what we do here. We talk fantasy, and of course, I never do any research, so I just do all this off the top of my head. But in a fantasy perspective, are tight ends irrelevant? Because I see a lot of guys, they just kind of reach for a tight end really, really early, and it kind of bites them in the ass.
I would agree. I think there's probably this past season, maybe 3 tight ends that you're like, this guy's going to perform week by week. I think Jake Ferguson's one because he's just a touchdown magnet.
Yep.
So like if you need a guy who's going to get TDs, it's him.
Absolutely.
McBride is an interesting one because he never catches touchdowns, but he's going to get you 1,000 yards because it's like they just throw him the ball.
But he had 11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, the year before though, it's like
4.
no touchdowns or
I think he ended with like 3 the year before and then like 1 the previous year.
McBride's so good though.
I agree, and he's fantastic. And now they have Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball, and they brought in Gardner Minshew, and they got all this quarterback battle now, and that's going to be interesting to see. But with the Texans though, I don't see them unless CJ Stroud can seriously take control of this offense. Like you said, they brought in a ton of help on the offensive line to keep him upright. I think he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league last year, and just no help whatsoever. They had 2 running backs and I don't really think they're sold on Woody Marks because they brought in Montgomery. So bringing in Montgomery, and he's your clear number 1 running back. Maybe you filter in Woody Marks every now and again. I don't know if they re-sign. I don't think they signed Nick Chubb again. So those are your 2 guys.
No, he's a UDFA.
So those are your 2 guys. You have Montgomery and you have Woody Marks. They're not sold on him, in my opinion. I was never sold on him, and I'm a hater of rookies anyway, especially in a fantasy, fantasy land. I don't rely on rookies unless you have like a Bijan Robinson come in who's just a freak of nature, and everybody was high on Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and those guys when they came in. But as far as the Texans go, is there, besides Nico Collins, and now they got rid of Christian Kirk too, so they have Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins, who are you comfortable with drafting come draft day?
I think Higgins would be like a solid option for like depth. Sure. Maybe your 3-4 guy. Nico is, when he's healthy, a top 10 receiver in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think Nico Collins is a very good route runner, and he's got hands like his hands are insane. He can catch anything. He's
also just physical, man. He can just beat you vertical.
Yep.
So it's like
he's gonna catch. He'll catch a contested ball.
He's also the guy that needs the ball fed to him. So like, if CJ is gonna play some of his rookie season, then Nico's a home run that you can get. I'd say first, second, third round. But Tank Dell is dynamic. Dude's hurt all the time, though. So it's like
hasn't stayed on the field.
He's insane when he's out there.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Josh Downs.
Had a great, Colts. Absolutely. Had a great season before he got hurt, and then came back and re-broke his leg or whatever it was, and it just a unlucky history of injuries there for him. But
I do think that those receivers though are going to be top heavy. I think it's going to be Nico just leading the way because unfortunately CJ in his mind, even when you hear him talk, he's the guy in his mind. He's like one of the best in the game.
Sure.
So it's like I feel like when those guys get that mindset, which it can be a good thing, but he's the guy that tries to win the game as opposed to just playing quarterback. Because you have playmakers all over the field. Get on the ball, let them do what they do. And last year, you just seen that. He's back there trying to make the home run every time, and he couldn't hit a drag route.
Yeah,
it's like, what are we doing, bro?
Absolutely.
So
no, and I agree with that. And like I said, this is really the telltale year for CJ Stroud, whether or not he's going to be, a good quarterback in this league. We saw the flashes of it his rookie year, and he really just needs to take that next step and take control of this offense. Get his playmakers the ball. Don't make the mistakes that he makes normally, and they could be a really, really good team. And if they kept their defense together, they extended Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson on the other side. That defense was just insane. Their secondary is crazy. I think they led the league in interceptions.
Blankenship.
Yeah,
so it's like
Blankenship. Who else did they have? They added Blankenship, and that's really the only
starter wise. But I mean, honestly, bro, they didn't need very much.
No, they didn't.
Jalen Petrie. I hate the Texans.
I know.
I would take Jalen Petrie on any team in the NFL.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite players to watch.
And they have Stingley.
Defensively, they're insane.
Yeah.
They are insane.
Very, very good defense. And now, if you're like, are you like me when it comes to fantasy football? Like I have a rule. As a Bills fan, I will never, ever draft anybody from the Patriots. I don't care how good they are. I don't care who it is. I will never have a Patriot on my team. Do you do the same thing with the Texans? Or are you just, no, I need Nico Collins or now David Montgomery?
I think I took Nico Collins last year.
Yeah.
Or traded for him or something. But like, I mean, probably I hate him. I mean, buddy, it's as bad as I hate like Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. I hope Daniel's watching the stream right now.
Yeah, I don't think anything's that bad. Yeah. But no, it's a situation where I'm trying to win the game.
Sure.
And Nico's gonna give you a chance to win it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's only the Patriots for me. I have no problem drafting anybody else, but for some reason the Patriots just bug me that much that, I got tortured by Tom Brady for 22 years. So
I hate the Patriots.
That's a little salty for me, and I don't care how good they are, and I hope Matt's watching the stream too, so I can shit on Drake May. But I just can't do it. I can't physically for the principle of the matter. And
the Pats played a D2 schedule.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They played Division 2 teams this year.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Hopefully their schedule is a little tougher this year. We'll see what happens. Let's move on, and we'll kind of brought them up a little bit, but we'll go to the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are always interesting to me because you have such a legacy with Peyton Manning there, right? And then you see Andrew Luck come in and kind of take over, and he played very, very well. Retired early, in my opinion. Probably could have played so many more years and just been incredible. Then they had some quarterback troubles. They draft Anthony Richardson, who is notoriously known for tapping himself out of the game because he ran around a little too much, I guess, is what happened. Now they bring in Daniel Jones. We saw them get significantly better with Daniel Jones. A lot of people shit on Daniel Jones coming from the Giants. Played great until he got hurt. But then we see the Colts re-sign Alec Pierce for a boatload of money. They trade away Michael Pittman. They still have Jonathan Taylor. What does the Colts offense look like this year as a division opponent?
You stop 28, you're going to beat them.
Sure.
Everything off of the Colts runs off of Jonathan Taylor. So if you're in fantasy, picking somebody first round, if JT's sitting there, you take JT.
Absolutely.
Because the entire offense runs through him. When they were rolling like 7 or 8-0, it was off of the run because Daniel Jones does not get enough credit for how athletic he is. So it allowed him to move the pocket.
Sure.
He's a pretty decent deep ball guy. Alec Pierce does very well in that role.
Absolutely.
Don't know if he's a $116 million receiver, but now he's the guy. And I think that the way their offense is set up, Tyler Warren is going to have a massive year because when you start running the ball that way, you hit these little drag routes to your tight end off the play action. They got Westbrook Akine.
Yeah, they signed him. Yeah, former Titan.
So it's like not a burner, but the guy's a smart player.
Well, I mean, with the Titans, he had it was like 8 catches with like nine touchdowns. Like if that were possible, it was crazy. That was crazy. No, I mean, signing Westbrook Akine, I mean, that just gives them more depth, right? I mean, like I said, they trade away Michael Pittman to the Steelers.
I don't like that trade.
I don't like the trade for them. I love the trade for the Steelers, and I think the Steelers love that trade.
Yeah, he got a great player.
Now they pair him with DK Metcalf.
Bro, their Steelers receiving core is massive.
Nutty.
Those are some big human beings.
Nutty, dude. It's insane. And Aaron Rodgers would be stupid not to come back for one more year under Mike McCarthy in that offense. But as far as the Colts go, now we saw Daniel Jones get injured too with the Achilles late in the season. So, I mean, with an Achilles injury, we're probably missing the first month of Daniel Jones. Does that turns the focus to Jonathan Taylor on the offense, right?
It's going to be a big year for him.
It could be a massive year for him, and I agree with you. I think that offense runs through Jonathan Taylor, and if it doesn't, it should. And we did see it early last year. They did kind of get away from it a little bit when they had some injury issues. Obviously, they brought in, Riley Leonard started for them, and then they brought, Phillip Rivers off the couch to see if they can limp into the playoffs, which ultimately they did not. But after the massive start, I mean, you got to think that, Shane Steichen over there he's got something figured out with Daniel Jones. And I agree with you.
I'm a big Steichen fan. I think he does a great job running that offense. What I would be scared about is you got a quarterback coming off an Achilles who's already not like a, S-tier type of guy.
Sure.
Who then loses his right tackle, who's I don't know if he's been an All-Pro, but Braden Smith has been a multi-time Pro Bowler.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be a lot of run and play action, which sets up huge for Jonathan Taylor because even when you load the box on that guy, it's tough.
Yeah.
And Tyler Warren, I think, is going to be for fantasy value. He's going to be the guy outside of obviously JT. JT, like I said, if he's there in the first round, you got to take him.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But Tyler Warren's going to be, I think, the top 3 or 4 tight end in the league.
And I think Tyler Warren's going to be up there. Yeah, he's probably one of my tight ends this year that I have some eyes on for sure. They used him a lot last year, even before Daniel Jones got hurt. Even after he got hurt, he was still involved in the offense. And that's the way that I approach fantasy, is I look for where the opportunity is, and that's kind of the philosophy behind it, and that's kind of the whole, that's the whole reason why I started the channel in the first place, is to kind of go through the head of how you think and how you should think, and not just draft a name. I mean, look what happened with Justin Jefferson last year. Everybody picked him in the first round, and we're very, very disappointed. But that was a product of quarterback situation. It's a lot better now with Kyler Murray, but last year was just a mess for them, and it was kind of the same situation after Daniel Jones got hurt with the Colts, is that their quarterback situation just wasn't, what did they expect Phillip Rivers to really come in and do? We saw him lose a lot of velocity on his balls late in his career anyway, and it just wasn't there. But he used Tyler Warren a lot, and I think Tyler Warren is probably in my top 5 tight ends this year. I'm gonna do I'll do a big ranking show once we get closer to draft season and everything like that. But for the most part, as I said, tight ends that you normally would expect to put up points and numbers for you everybody was non-existent except for Trey McBride. Kyle Pitts was there, but he only had that one game with like 3 touchdowns that really kind of boosted his numbers a little bit. But Tyler Warren he's a big body tight end, man, and I like big body tight ends like that, and guys who are and he's got some wheels on him and can run the routes and catch the ball, and you're going to get yards after the catch, which is really important for any offense, especially in the tight end.
No, for sure. And I think the way fantasy's kind of trended over the past couple of years for tight ends for me is I'm looking for touchdown targets.
Yeah. I'm looking for the Dallas.
That's the reason why I love
Jake Ferguson.
Dude, Jake Ferguson for me is my guy. I love trying to pick him up because red zone, that's who he's going to.
Monster. He's a red zone machine.
But I think if the Colts approach it that way with Warren, he could have a big year, man, because if JT doesn't break a long run, you get, those third downs and goals. Tyler Warren is going to be that guy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's tough because
they lost Pittman.
Yeah,
they lost Pittman. So, who are they going to throw to down there?
Exactly. And I was just going to say that it's tough for me to want to, love the Colts offense, but man, trading away Michael Pittman, to keep Alec Pierce, truthfully, I'm not really sold on Alex Pierce. And the simple reason is he's kind of a one-trick pony to me. He can run fast down, deep down the field, and if somebody can hit him long, it's a great play. A lot of his big plays were broken coverages, so really just some defensive mistakes there. So I'm not entirely sold on Alec Pierce yet. I'll definitely need to see his route running tree and his ability on the field to see if he's going to be something worthy of drafting.
I agree with you because he got paid all this money. And I don't think anybody
$114 million
that is a fan or in the NFL looked at him as that type of money. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But now he is the guy.
Right.
So with Pittman over here, you got 2 guys on, shade. You got a safety over the top. He's going to play over the middle because he's a big body guy, strong hands. He can win one-on-one balls. And then Alec Pierce can take the defense away, like over the top. Now, that over-the-top ball, he don't have anybody like a Michael Pittman. He got Josh Downs who can, little shifty guy, but nobody that draws double teams. Like Pittman could draw the double.
Sure.
And Alec can win a one-on-one. But we'll see what he does as a V guy.
Yeah.
But I don't see it. Unless they draft another guy. I don't know where they're picking that. But none of these receivers either like it.
Yeah, they don't blow me away. I'm not a big draft guy. I have a draft guy that I'm bringing in to help me go through the draft when I do that episode in a couple weeks. But drafts are always deep at wide receiver, right? You have so many more wide receivers than you do any other position. So maybe they draft a guy, maybe they don't. Then you really just kind of stuck with Josh Downs and Alec Pierce, and I think Tyler Warren is kind of becomes your number 1 in my opinion.
That's the reason why I love him for fantasy.
Yeah.
I think Tyler Warren's gonna have a big year.
Yeah, no,
that offense is scary. Other than the fact that Steichen's calling the plays, and you have Jonathan Taylor in the NFL. If you can run the ball, you can make some other stuff happen. So
yeah. I agree, and
we'll see.
And that's the philosophy behind it too. Is there's the opportunity for Warren is there. Okay? I don't really see a crazy opportunity for Alec Pierce, and I don't see a crazy opportunity for Josh Downs. I see all the opportunity for Jonathan Taylor. So he becomes your focal point, and it's a bad day for an offense when the defense looks on the field and goes, I don't have to worry about your wide receivers. I have to worry about 28. And I think Tyler Warren's like 84 or something. Those are the 2 guys that I got to focus on, and that's it. So
I agree.
That offense is going to have some struggles, I think, especially when they play Houston 2 times a year. That defense is just going to they're just going to murder them. Moving on though, we're getting through here. We got 2 teams down, 2 teams to go. We're going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars next. And I personally like the Jacksonville Jaguars a lot. I know a lot of people have this notion in their heads that Trevor Lawrence should already be elite, right? He should already be this established quarterback. We've seen him kind of ride this roller coaster throughout his career already, and I think he's 1 year after Josh Allen's draft year, 2019 or something like that. He got drafted, and he's had some good receivers. He's had some not so good receivers. He's always had.
Well, he's got them now. He's got a good receiving core now.
He does now. Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter and those guys down there.
Kobe Myers was huge for
the trade. Yeah, forgot about him. And he built he built some real rapport with Trevor Lawrence as he came in midway, during the draft, the trade deadline. The trade deadline last year, they saw Jacoby Myers, and he came in and scored a bunch of touchdowns. But Trevor Lawrence, to me, I think he's a great quarterback. He's kind of similar to Josh Allen in a way. The big body guy can run. He's hard to bring down. And we saw that last year. He had some rushing touchdowns under his belt last season, and we saw Jacksonville win the division last year. So, as a fan, and the biggest surprise to me was letting Travis Etienne go. Or, I'm sorry, Travis Etienne now. Sorry, he corrected us. I have to say it right. I have to make sure I say it right. Travis Etienne. I don't know. Did you know that he changed his name?
I've seen that.
He told us
Etienne sounds better.
The correct pronunciation of his name is actually pronounced Etienne. He's kind of been on a little bit of a roller coaster as well. Like he kind of came in, he was their guy, and then we saw him lose some snaps to Tootin last year. And the year before that, I forget who they had in there, Tank Bigsby, before they traded him. Now he's gone in New Orleans, and they bring in DJ Dallas and Chris Rodriguez Jr. to kind of fill their running backfield, I guess. They might be making a push in the draft for a running back, but none of those guys really kind of move the needle for me.
No. The only thing that would is Liam Cohen can really run the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think his sets work great. I mean, look what he did with Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
Yep. Him and Rashad White was killing it. So it's a good O-line. They're pretty decent. Mm-hmm. I think just whenever you're able to just drop back and throw the ball the way that I think the Jags can, I think Tootin could have a good year. But yeah, I'm not picking him top of the draft. I mean, he would be late.
I mean, he might be a depth guy for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a solid bench guy. Somebody off of the waiver wire.
Yeah.
I think Lawrence, though, there's probably 24, 25 other teams in the NFL would love to have Trevor Lawrence behind center. I think he gets a lot of hate.
I agree.
Look at all the coaching changes he's had.
Yeah.
And he finally gets a guy who, a really good coordinator, really good at quarterback development.
Yep.
And you've seen him blossom. I mean, they won a lot of football games.
Yeah,
they go 13-4.
Yeah.
So
something like that. Yeah. No, they
and I think Lawrence great. Under year 2 under that throw with better receivers. I mean, he's going to be a problem.
Now we saw a down year for Brian Thomas Jr. Kind of sticks with the trend of the sophomore slump, right? He had a really good rookie year. Comes in last year, and we see him deal with injuries, but they draft Travis Hunter. He also gets hurt. They trade for Jacoby Myers. That receiving core, in my opinion, is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid receiving core with those three guys, and I'm really curious to see if they still continue to use Travis Hunter on defense at all. I know he kind of came in wanting to play both sides of the ball. I think personally he's a better defensive back than he is receiver. But the Jags,
he's one of the best corners I've ever seen in college football.
Sure, yeah,
he's one of the best corners.
Absolutely,
he's insane.
Yeah,
I think the problem BTJ had last year was Travis Hunter is just not an NFL caliber receiver yet.
Right.
And you started to see him come on whenever Jacoby Myers come in.
Yeah.
Jacoby Myers comes in, they start doing some stuff.
Yeah. Well, it takes the attention away and puts it on somebody else, and it allows these guys to maneuver around the field a little bit better. Instead of having 2-3 guys on them, now they only have one guy on them, because now they have to account for Jacoby Myers. if Travis Hunter decides that he wants to be an NFL receiver, they're going to have to cover him because I do think he's a good receiver. I just think he's a better cornerback.
Yeah, no, he's a great player. I think that what they give away to get him is pretty crazy considering like his ego about wanting to be on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
In today's game, I just think you could make a lot of money as a corner or receiver.
For sure.
Your value as just a two-way player is just not going to be what the top receiver, the top corners get. I think if you picked one, he could very easily do it. I mean, he's a great athlete.
For sure.
But if I'm picking these Jags receivers, I think BTJ is your touchdown guy.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to have a ton of targets, but I think the safest play is Jacoby Myers.
Absolutely.
I think that he come in, got touchdowns, got the ball often. I think he's got a pretty good relationship with T-Law, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I like Jacoby the best, though.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Jacoby Myers is probably the guy that I'm picking. I'm probably picking him over Brian Thomas Jr. only because based on the target distribution there now. I think it's going to go Jacoby Myers' way. I think you're looking at 10 to 12 targets for him per game, where you're going to get your touchdowns from BTJ. But I mean, he's still going to give you yards, but we're looking at maybe 7, 8
I think
targets.
he's 70, 80.
Yeah. So 70, 80 catches for him, and then you hope to see Myers kind of reach that century mark in catches this year, but. As far as fantasy goes, I mean, none of these guys jump off the page at me, right? So they're more depth guys. I'm very happy with Jacoby Myers as like a wide receiver 2, even if I'm depending on where I pick in my drafts. I can see myself definitely drafting Jacoby Myers as kind of even a flex guy. He'd be a perfect flex guy. In my opinion,
I think the sleeper is once the big tight ends are gone, like at the top of the draft. Yeah. Paul Strange, or
Brenton Strange.
What's his name?
Yeah,
Brenton Strange. Yeah. Dog.
Yeah, and he became a favorite of Trevor Lawrence, kind of mid-season there. He dealt with the injury. A lot of injuries last year that teams had to deal with, and
it still won a lot of games.
But they still won games. They still overcame that. I like Liam Cohen a lot down there. It's amazing what coaches can do in a new team and just turn it around instantly. The Jets need to figure it out and how to do that. The Browns need to figure out how to do that. But it's just
God love them.
Yeah, I love shit with the Browns fans. It's so much fun. Anyway,
they had Baker.
They had Baker. I know, and they let him go because Baker played well and had a season with like 4,000 yards, and they were just losing games left and right. It just, of course, it's always the quarterback's fault when that happens. So, but last but not least, my man, the team that we're all here and excited to talk about, the Tennessee Titans. The biggest news: they changed the logo, they get the new unis, they're ready for the 2026-2027 season. And this is part of the reason why I think that this year that this division could be very, very underrated. We have the Texans who have a great defense. We need to see CJ Stroud take another leap. The Colts had something really, really good at 7-7 or 8-0 or whatever it was before Daniel Jones gets hurt. The Jaguars we saw win the division with like 13 wins. Teams that you don't really expect to be kind of near the top, but this is a division in my opinion because now you have the Titans in here who get Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll, who I think is a very underrated pairing. So to me, this division is going to be very underrated. I think teams are still going to look at this division and go, okay, circle that win right there.
Yep.
And I think they're going to be very surprised at how the Titans can play this year. Titans did a lot in the offseason. Free agency hit, and man, they had a lot of money to spend, and did they spend it?
They spent some money. That they did.
What how do you feel about Brian Daboll and Robert Saleh coming over? Let's start there.
I think whenever you're looking at it from a Titans perspective, is we had like this alpha leader in Mike Vrabel who come in and probably stepped on the toes of some veterans coming off of Mike Mularkey, who went 9-7 goes to the playoff game. I think beats the Chiefs on that crazy Mariota touchdown.
Yep.
They fire him. He comes in and even still just set his culture. To go from that to the Callahan era, where the guy just was overwhelmed by the position. I don't think he did a great job implementing his scheme either, because I guess only the Titans could have a Hall of Fame offensive line coach come in, and our offensive line severely underperform. And then as soon as that regiment gets fired, we have Mike McCoy take over, and now we can all of a sudden run the ball.
Sure.
So it's like, if you can run the ball with a guy who can make plays with Cam Ward, I think now, hopefully getting Ridley to be healthy this upcoming year, where he's not just the one, you have Wandell in there.
Yep, they bring in Wandell Robinson.
They're turning the keys over to Gunnar Helm, who I love. I think he's going to have a really good career, not just season. I think the offense is going to be what it is. I think it'll be okay. But I love the coaches. You have alphas.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley is the defensive coordinator, installing Salah's offense.
Yep.
One of the most well-respected DCs around the league.
Sure.
When you look at Dayball, his quarterback development, his resume is insane.
Very good.
Josh Allen. He had Jalen Hurts, Tua, all those guys at Alabama.
Yep.
Mac Jones was on that roster.
Yep.
He got all three of those guys into the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Daniel Jones won a playoff game. This high draft pick that everybody was, I think, I was confused by them taking him. And then he has a really good season. Their GM is an idiot for what he did with their offense, bro.
Sure. Letting Saquon Barkley walk.
Yeah, and I don't know. They could get better, but they will scheme. I loved how Salah talked about it. Salah's one of the most well-respected DCs. Probably, when you look at defensive coordinators, his name probably comes right to the top with Fangio and Vance Joseph from Denver. So it's like, I love that we have alpha head coaches who have been there, done that, coaching our guys, especially on a young roster.
Yeah.
So I love that, the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And I trust our GM too.
Yeah, I really like the Brian Daboll, and of course I'm not just saying that because, I'm a Bills fan, but he really, saw Josh Allen for what he was, big guy, cannon arm, and Cam Ward has similar features to Josh Allen. He's a big body guy. He's pushing like 250. He's like 6'5". He's got a cannon arm. We saw him come in, get thrown to the wolves, right? And when you're a rookie, you get thrown to the wolves, you're going to make mistakes, and you have to understand that coming into the league, right? But this year, with Brian Daboll, I think Cam Ward is going to take a huge step forward. Probably one of the biggest leaps that we might ever see in the NFL, to be honest. I really, really like the fact that they brought in Wandell Robinson. I know Brian Daboll is a huge fan of him, and I know he wanted his guy. And there's no better place for him, really, than Tennessee right now. He's a speedy receiver. He's got great route running ability. Can make the contested catch if need be. That's a very underrated signing, I think, and a lot of people might be overlooking Wandell Robinson down there, and I think as a whole, in general, they're probably overlooking the Titans. I mean, they still have Pollard running the ball. You bring in DK and Io Manor. Those two guys played very, very well. I know, like I said, everybody was a rookie last year, but they showed some flashes. The one thing that I wanted to mention too is that they let Chig go, but they bring in Daniel Bellinger, another giant who played under Brian Daboll. What does that mean? What does this offense look like with those guys?
I think you're going to see a team that runs a lot of RPO, which is what I think Cam is going to thrive in.
Sure.
I think you've got an underrated amount of speed in Tennessee right now. Ridley is a burner. Wandell is a burner. And DK can flat out fly. That guy can run. So you throw in that with two tight ends who are really good pass catchers, but bigger body guys, to where I think you're going to have a lot of running the ball, RPO, play action. And I think if you can get Cam to where he can play a little bit more free with an RPO,
Right.
system. I think that as a quarterback, I played quarterback a long time ago. Whenever you feel just like you can be an athlete and not think so much, you usually perform better.
Sure.
So I think the RPO is going to allow someone like Cam to do well.
I agree.
And I think you got the speed
Yeah,
to run
absolutely.
an offense like that.
1,000%.
I think it's going to come down to I'd really love for them to sign back Kevin Zeitler for one more year.
Yeah.
Just kind of shore up that right guard, let JC play,
Sure.
another season at his home position at right tackle with a veteran for year 2. I think that would be good. I think the offensive line will be okay. Still think they need some work.
Sure.
Don't love the playmakers, but we draft Jeremiah Love, and if we could pull that off somehow, I think you got a pretty good offense. To me, the defense is going to be what helps Cam the most.
Absolutely.
It's not even the playmakers.
Yeah,
the defense is going to be great.
Yeah, and they brought in some nice guys on the defensive side of the ball to help out. They get the trade with the Jets for Jermaine Johnson. They bring in John Franklin Myers. I mean,
that pairing with Jeff,
just a beefy defensive line right now. That was my next question. They sit at 4 in the draft, right? Now, like I said, they still have Tony Pollard. They still have Tajay Spears, right?
Yeah, they do.
So you have Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. Do they go Jeremiah Love at 4, or do you think Because I don't think the teams ahead of them are gonna look at.
I think Arizona could potentially be that, with there not being like a number 2 quarterback. I think it's Mendoza and then Ty Simpson, but I just don't see the Cardinals taking quarterback. I mean, you've already committed to Brissett. You bring in Minshew, so it's like I don't see them doing that. I think they could go.
Here's the thing:
running back.
They still have James,
but
Conner,
they need so much help.
and they bring in Tyler Algier from Atlanta.
Yeah. So I forgot about the Algier. So yeah, I think the Titans are going to have their option. I don't think we're going to lose either way we go on that 4th pick, unless we go Ruben Bain, which I think is off the board now, because one of the most underrated signings for the Titans, in my opinion, is, and you're going to see him flash because he is really, really good, Jacob Martin from the Commanders.
Yeah.
Picked him up. That guy, I watched a couple of Commanders games, like Thursday Night Football and everything else that they got to play on primetime because of their phenomenal season the year before. Jacob Martin's all over the field. I think he'll be a really good depth piece. I also think when you look at the Titans, they took Femi with a 2nd-round pick. So, obviously they believe in this guy. You're not spending a 2nd-round pick on somebody and seeing, a sample size of 6-7 games last year and not running him back out there. So I think as a Titans guy, defensive end is off the board, especially when you got Jeff Simmons and JFM.
Yeah.
JFM had 8.5, 9 sacks last year at D tackle.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can flat out get after it. Jermaine Johnson, 7.5 sacks underneath Saleh whenever he was there.
Yeah, and Robert
D
Saleh,
line's gonna be good.
Robert Saleh loves his defensive linemen to be able to move. He doesn't like those big 300 plus.
Bro, we also
guys.
got Solomon Thomas.
Yep. Solomon
Another
Thomas
one of his picks.
Mm-hmm.
Older now, but still really good, solid player.
Saleh and Daboll were bringing in their guys that they want. They want to build this team around. Obviously, Cam Ward is your gunslinger, is your quarterback. He's the one calling the shots. Bringing his guys in to help him out in any way possible, whether that's offense or defense. I really do think that the Titans have a really, really good chance of winning the division. And maybe you heard it here first on the Front Office podcast that the Titans could win the division and make it back to the playoffs. Year 1 of Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll.
Man, I would love to buy into it. I can't just yet, just because I've overshot the win-loss total the past couple of years with my Titans glasses on, but
no, I mean we have to take it for what it's worth.
I think that defense though could be something that keeps you in games.
Sure.
And I really believe that Cam is special enough that just having year 2 of Alec and DK, now you throw in Wandale, we get a healthy Ridley. Cam's gonna win some games for you.
Yeah.
Well, just from being Cam.
Let's start there. He's winning more than 4 games this year, right?
Oh, for sure. That team right there is gonna play some people like you were talking about, circling them on the no. Not gonna happen.
Yep.
Cam is too much of a competitor, he's too talented. And I also think you got a guy in Dable who does not believe in losing. No. I know, whatever
he is a winner.
Happened in New York, that guy was in a bad situation in New York. He had Jackson Dart, Scatterbo playing great.
Yep.
Then they get hurt. Guy can flat out coach.
Yeah. No,
and
I agree.
Now he's not responsible for the New York Giants and the New York media. He's responsible for the Tennessee Titans offense. We don't get the national media coverage. We're not a contender.
Right.
He does not have the pressure. He loved Cam Ward. He tried to make a play for Cam.
He did.
Whenever he was there over Jackson Dart.
Yep.
So I think that combination of Cam, Dayball, is going to put them in a situation where Cam is going to flat out win you some games that we should not win. Because I believe he's that talented.
I agree.
And it's not just me.
No, I completely agree with you there. And I think that's kind of where Saleh gets his rap from too, is he went to New York. He went to the other New York team. And the Jets are just, it's a terrible culture over there. It's a terrible organization over there. They have no idea what they're doing on either side. Now, I do think the Giants kind of figured it out a little bit more with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, but overall,
saved their GM's job, bro. I mean,
for 1,000% saved his job, absolutely. And the Jets, I just don't know. I love being in a division with the Jets. We get to play them 2 times a year. I know that's 2 wins guaranteed. They have not done it.
I'll tell you what's also insane talking about the Jets, because I just want to shit on them too. The fact that people even consider the Jets to be a better franchise than the Tennessee Titans is unbelievable.
It's insane.
Broadway Joe played in like the 70s, buddy.
Yeah.
They have not been to but one playoff game, 2 playoff games. And that was the Rex Ryan years.
Super Bowl with Joe Namath.
Titans were just in the AFC Championship 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like the Titans are a better organization than the Jets.
Yeah.
And that's from since we become to Tennessee. I mean, early 2000s, late 90s, the Titans were a problem.
Oh,
and then we lost our way. But then obviously Derrick Henry, when you got that cat back there, you just hand him the rock and get out of the way.
You just hand off the ball and let him go. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this as a whole, this division is underrated. I think the Titans are underrated as it sits right now. Obviously, we go back and we look at what happened last year, and you just kind of project that forward without actually diving into, okay, now we have 2 new head coach. We have a head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Everything's brand new here. They bring in their needs. They brought in a lot of guys on defense. They brought in, like we talked about already, Wandale and Bellinger from the Giants over there with Dable already. So they already have that kind of relationship built up. Another guy we didn't even mention that to bring in to back up Cam Ward is Mitch Trubisky. I'm a big Mitch Trubisky fan because he backed up Josh Allen for many years. If anything were to happen to Cam Ward, you have a capable guy there. Now, I think there's such a value though to having a guy who was a top draft pick, played an NFC Championship, backed up one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Cam can learn
he's
a
just
lot
a guy.
from Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, man, just to have somebody in the room that's not trying to take your job. Who's going to make you compete because he's a good player. He's just a solid back of the NFL, but he's smart. I mean, the guy's been around the league long enough, has some really good, highly sought after coaches coach him up to where he's going to be able to give Cam, I think, a good perspective.
Sure.
And I think it's a valuable piece. Like if you look at all the best quarterbacks over the past 20 years, I mean, a lot of them had really good mentors. If you look at whatever is in the water in Green Bay, how they do things.
Their quarterbacks. I said that when I went over the NFC North about Green Bay and their quarterback. They're just geniuses over there. Their quarterback development system is like no other. They've had 3 quarterbacks in 30 years. It's just
It's
insane what they can do over there. So real quick before we wrap up, because we're getting close to the hour mark here. What does it mean for fantasy when you look at the Tennessee Titans? You have Tony Pollard, you have Daniel Bellinger, DK, Ridley, Wandell, you get Cam Ward in the backfield. When a defense steps onto the field, they're seeing those guys. Where do you rank these guys as far as where would you like to draft them if you were to draft them?
I think that the best pick would be Wandell overall.
Sure.
As a two maybe 3 spot. I mean, I think it'd be a high target guy. Sure. I think you could safely put him in your second receiver spot. I think in a 12-man league, Gunnar Helm would be a really good tight end. Sure. On a 12-man league. Calvin, to me, is the one that's like the X factor. If you get the version of Calvin that was Atlanta, where he got to play with another really solid receiver, and to me, Calvin needs to play in the slot a lot. He is so fast. His route running is incredible. Give him more space to work with. I think he's kind of been stuck on the island. Yeah. If they play him more inside, Calvin could be your number 2 guy.
For sure.
I mean, he's incredible. But I think when you stick him out there and like, hey, Calvin, go win the game, he's kind of been stuck in the same spot that like Jamar Chase and Nico Collins and these just alpha receivers. He's not that. He's a great option too. But I'm interested to see, because I think what you do, if I was coaching the team, obviously we're armchair coaches. Of course, everybody is. I would put Ellick outside, big physical receiver. Sure. And let Ridley and Wandell play a lot inside and a lot of motions. Sure. If that's what you get, Calvin's going to be dangerous. Yeah, I think Wandell's the top guy. 12-man league, I'm taking Gunnar. I do think, though, if we get Jeremiah Love, you're looking at he's going to be one of the top backs to take. I think he would be awesome. Tony, had 1,000 yards last year with a bad offensive line for 10 games.
He picked it up in the second half of the season. So for me, I'm happy with Tony Pollard as my running back 2. Maybe a flex guy. I'm happy to pick him up. I say this all the time too. When it comes to drafting, I am not a guy that will go out and draft a quarterback as early as possible, because I can't stand when teams do that. It throws off the entire draft. There's better guys out there that I should be drafting in the second, third round as opposed to a quarterback. I'm very happy with anybody that I get after round 10. Usually it's my Trevor Lawrence, my Dak Prescott, and in this case it might even be Cam Ward if he's available, and you're really one of those guys that doesn't like to pick a quarterback until round 12 or 13.
I think Cam will have you 3,500 to 4,000 this year passing. Sure.
I can see that, absolutely, and a lot of that is going to have to do with Brian Daboll coming over and changing up the offensive scheme and really kind of showcasing Cam Ward's abilities in the exact same way that he did with Josh Allen.
And I personally believe we're gonna win the possession battle a lot. I think that defense is going to be absolutely insane. Yeah. And then we don't talk about it enough as football fans, but right. We have the best special teams coach in the game. Yep. We just got Tommy Townsend. You're going to have a good defense that's going to play in a lot of short fields with Cam, who was actually really solid in the red zone last year. Mm-hmm. You got Tony. If you get Love, for sure, your red zone is going to be much better.
Yeah, your red zone percentage goes up tremendously.
Yeah, I think that is something that's understated. I think Tommy Townsend can flip the field. You got DK, one of the best returners in the game. So it's like, I think there's going to be a lot more scoring this year from the Titans. Sure. And I think Gunnar Helm could be one of those guys that really lights it up. And Wandell, I think, is going to have a big year. I think he's 1,200 yard receiver.
Yeah, and that would be huge for them. I do like Wandell Robinson there. I think he's also, like you said, he's probably a very good, viable wide receiver 2, maybe flex guy that I can just leave in my flex spot week after week.
I think it's a great flex.
Yeah, it's a big signing for them. I think it's a highly underrated signing for them. I think Titans are very underrated this year. This division as a whole, I think, is going to be underrated. But yeah, Dizzy, I appreciate you joining me, man. We are just over the hour mark, so I'm gonna wrap up the podcast episode here. I am your host, Pistols. Dizzy, thank you again for joining me. You're always welcome on the channel. Talk ball all you want. I know we're in March, so it's kind of tough to get into that football mode, but free agency is kind of slowing down a little bit, so we're ramping up for the draft coming up in a few weeks here and at the end of April. Excited for that. I love draft day. It's one of my favorite days of the year, aside from free agent day. When free agency kicks off the new league year, we have draft day, and then we start getting into training camps and everything over the summer. But again, appreciate you for being here. That will do it for this episode of the Front Office Podcast. We broke down the AFC South. We talked about fantasy. Dizzy, thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir. We'll see you guys.